Hello, this is Kenny Lee Burgess, and welcome to a Cigar Box Guitar Player's Guide to Chords. Before we get into the lessons, I thought I'd take this opportunity to give you some information about my Bottleneck Blues Guitar series of CD video lessons. You know, originally, I started playing 6-string bottleneck slide while I was serving in the United States Air Force. And I mainly learned using audio tapes, and years later, I took lessons from teachers. You know, while I was studying with one of my teachers, I said to him, why ain't I getting any better? And so he took a piece of tablature sheet music and put it in front of me and asked me to play it. And I couldn't play it. And I should have been able to play it. It was a simple piece. And he said, that's your problem. You don't have solid basics. You know, how do you expect to get any better if you don't have a solid foundation? So it's at that time I decided to do what I call the backward step and relearn from the beginning. But this time I was going to give myself a musical education. I was going to learn how to apply musical theory to bottleneck slide guitar. So on CD 1, 2, and 3, it's pretty much a recreation of how I relearned playing the guitar using musical theory. And I think you're going to find this different than a lot of the CDs on the markets that just teach songs. I teach songs, but what I do is I give you the information that you need to use to figure out songs and make your own arrangements. I have found that having some understanding of musical theory is a lot more fun. You're not a slave to tablature and just learn song after song. I mean, it's really empowering. On CD 1, I teach Vastapol tuning. This is commonly known as open D or open E tuning. And I would recommend this tuning for beginners because it's a little easier to learn how to alternate the bass with your thumb and play the bottleneck slide on the first string. Now, this tuning was used extensively by players like Blind Willie Johnson, Bukka White, Mississippi Fred McDowell. On CD 2, I teach Spanish tuning. This is commonly known as open G or open A tuning. And this is where you get that real delta tone because it was used extensively by Charlie Patton, Son House, Robert Johnson, and Muddy Waters. And on CD 3, what I do is I compare the two tunings because a lot of people think it's a mystery, like they're very different. But actually, once you understand the relationship between the tunings, it's very easy to take something that you learned on Vastapol tuning and put it in the Spanish and vice versa. And also on that CD, I include extra songs for you to learn. So one day I was on the internet and I came across the king of the cigar box guitars, Shane Spiel, and his website, Cigar Box Nation, and I was fascinated. I soon realized I could use my knowledge of open tuning and apply it to cigar box guitars. So on CD 4, how to play 3-string cigar box guitar, I'm working in Spanish tuning, but the lower strings, strings 5, 4, and 3. And then on CD 5, how to play 4-string cigar box guitar, I do the higher strings, strings 4, 3, 2, 1. So together, it makes the whole Spanish tuning of a 6-string. So being forced to be limited by 3 and 4 strings, I had to study more and figure out more. So it actually worked out well because then when I went back to the 6-string, I had even more information. So now in this series, Series 6, I'm going to mainly focus in on how to make and locate chords so you can play your favorite songs. And I'm going to keep on the videos theory down to a minimum because I want these lessons to be applicable for beginners and also people who like to just sit and strum chords. Because the idea is that even though I'm going to teach some songs and use them as examples, what I'd like you to be able to do is, and once you have this information, is that you could play the songs you want using your favorite fake book. Now, what's a fake book? I got some fake books right here. A fake book is simply a music book that you buy at the store. Like, for instance, here's one called the Blues Fake Book. And the reason they call them fake books is because you kind of fake the arrangement. You don't necessarily play it exactly the way it is. So, you know, like here's another one. Here's one I bought when I was on vacation about gospel songs. And here's my trusty Rolling Stones fake book. So the thing is this, a fake book usually has minimal information. Now the first problem is they're usually for 6-string guitar, so there'll be information in there, but it's not applicable to our 3-string. But they have information that we can use. They'll usually have the melody line written in standard notation, but if you don't read music, that's not going to help you. But what they do have is they have the lyrics, and usually over the lyrics they have the basic chords. So if you're familiar with the song, you'll know where the chord changes are. So My hope is that once you know how to locate the chords that you need on your 3-string cigar box guitar, you can use your favorite fake book and then just sit there and strum away. Additionally, on the CD, there's going to be a book that I'm in the process of writing right now, and it's going to be an introduction to musical theory. So if you like, you could read the text and understand how the chords were created and how they relate to different scales. So you can use this information and move further down the line and improve your skills. So to take these lessons, you're going to need a 3-string cigar box guitar with frets. And I'm using strings from a standard pack of guitar strings, and I'm using strings A, D, and G, from low to high, A, D, and G. And a nice complement to these lessons, of course, would be CD4, because in those lessons, we use the same strings, but we're tuned G, D, G, so that A is tuned down to G. So it's G, D, G. In this lesson, we're going to keep that as an A, and it's going to be A, D, and we're going to tune the G down to F sharp. So it'll be A, D, F sharp. You know, just get yourself a tuner, and especially those little clip-on ones, and you'll have no problem getting into a good tune. So what I'm going to do is, how I'm going to teach this is I'm going to start off as a format teaching the 5 basic keys, and that's C, A, G, E, and D. And as we go along, of course, I'm going to add chords, because I have to show you how to do minors and majors and sevenths. So as we go along, I'll just kind of fill everything in. And also, additionally, I believe I'll put a chord chart in there so it's a handy reference. But I want to give you some way to understand how chords are grouped together, so it's just a little easier for you to find them as we go along.